Hey, what's up everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I want to address the Philadelphia 76ers. I want to address the Philadelphia 76ers because I know that they have um, decided they're going to move on from Ben Simmons, which everybody agrees with. Um, and I heard about some of the packages that they're going to be offering, just trying to, bring back whatever it is that they want to bring back. And I would just caution them not to lose sight of the fact that one of the things that makes them a contender every single year is the fact that they have a very large basketball team. Okay? That's what I want to say to the Philadelphia 76ers. I understand that Ben Simmons has turned out to be somebody that you want to move on from. As I said, his limitations are a little much. You have a win now coach. Probably need more of a traditional type of player shooting the ball. But the thing about it is, and I tell you, this is not something that necessarily is a perfect situation. You gotta let something has to give. Is what I'm saying. If you trade Ben Simmons, you do understand that you are losing that size. You have a 6'10", almost 7-foot point guard who's one of the better, if not one of the more elite defensive players in all of basketball. He can guard 1 through 4 and some 5s. I just got through watching Giannis's press conference, and one of the things that he said is that he's been working very, very hard on, just getting better at what he does. And at the end, he said, I made my free throws when they count. I remember Shaq saying, I made them when they count. I'm not sure what Ben Simmons has in him, but if I'm Ben Simmons and I just got through watching that press conference, Giannis holding those 2 trophies, knowing that his limitations and my limitations, his strengths and my strengths are similar, and that the only difference is that Giannis has more years ahead and less bashfulness about shooting, because that's literally it. You see how many shots Giannis bricked from 3? It drove me absolutely nuts. It's why I don't view him as great as he ultimately has proven he was last night. It's because of some of the poor possessions that come from him shooting the ball. But what he's not is afraid to shoot the ball. So when Ben Simmons comes around to understanding the fruit in allowing some shots to just brick, which I think are coming. I think this last playoff experience may have humbled him to a point where he has to go back to the drawing board. And he alluded to that in his birthday post. He had some high highs and some low lows. And what that showed me is that this is somebody who hadn't been accused of being humbled by circumstance lately. Even though he's had his injuries, he's been reported to be someone who has a certain level of arrogance about himself. And as a result, he wasn't really focused on getting better at basketball. But what just happened was he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed. He was made fun of. And he was made fun of for something that he's good at, and that's playing basketball. And that's not something a young player who's been given a whole lot of accolades and a lot of respect, rookie of the year, all kinds of stuff, defensive, all kinds of accolades comes with his gifts. He hadn't been humiliated like he just was. And like I said, for something that he's good at, we get to a point where we forget that Ben Simmons is very good at playing basketball. He's not good at dribbling the ball and shooting, but like Giannis, he's able to affect the floor in other ways, and sometimes extraordinarily in those other ways. And when he gets to his next destination, he will remind us of that if he's able to stay on the floor by hitting his free throws. Because if he can't hit his free throws, of course, he's unplayable. But I assume he'll get better at the free throw line over the next several years. I assume that he'll see the fruit in trying to shoot the ball, because it's the only way he's going to stay in the league. If he starts attempting threes, it's the only way he's staying in the league. But I do think he'll figure those 2 things out, because I think he wants to be here, and he really is good at playing basketball. And I don't think that whatever he has going on is going to keep him from being able to have a full career. I think he'll overcome those things. Maybe it's a slow burner. Maybe it'll take him getting out of there to do so. But I think he'll overcome those things. And when he does, the things that he does great, he'll still be doing great. Defending, locking people up, rebounding basketball, blasting off to the rim, dunking on people's heads. There are things that Ben Simmons can do naturally, and his confidence has been wavered, and he hasn't been working on his game as much as he should. But when and if he does, you'll wish you had him, Philly. That's all I'm saying. The moral of what I'm saying to you is, after watching Giannis win the championship and all of his limitations, I realize that getting rid of Ben Simmons is something that's being done with too much haste. I think the concern for the Philadelphia should be how they worked on his mind to get him to have the type of confidence to do the things that I said just a minute ago, shoot the ball. Once you get his mind right, you then remember that you have an extraordinary body, an extraordinary passing gift, an extraordinary defender, an extraordinary rebounder, size that can guard anybody. Like, this is not a limited basketball player. He's just limited in some ways that make him ineffective in this era. If he played in 1971 when the Bucks was running around, Ben Simmons would be one of the best players in the league back then. Because you didn't need to shoot the ball that well. You just needed to be able to do the things that he does, and his athleticism would have carried him to being one of the best players in all of basketball. So understand, it's the era that he's in that renders him as low of value as he does. Not his talent. The things that he does well. If he's given the ball and given opportunities to do what Jokic does, which is set up the basketball from other positions on the floor, set up the offense from other positions on the floor. If he's given that opportunity, he will excel. He will excel. Now, like I said, in order for him to be playable, he must hit his free throws. That's on him. If he stays below 50%, you can't put him on the floor to do any of those things. So he has to do that. That's more important than shooting the three. He must be a free throw shooter. Because if he can't get even competent from the free throw line, that renders all that slashing to the basket obsolete. He does that bashful bullcrap that he did under the basket when he passed instead of dunking. That kind of stuff is because of free throw shooting and his understanding of the fact that he's struggling. That's the most important aspect of his offseason, in my opinion, besides his regular just conditioning, take care of his body. Free throw shooting. Work on that right now. Get that part down, get a rhythm that works for you, get back into the game with that, get above 72%. If he can do that, he'll be playable, and he'll be able to do what it is that he does well. He's never shot the three. He's never shot the three. He's made all-star teams. He's gotten his team, he's had 30-point games, 20-point rebounds, big assists, blocks, steals. He's done good things without shooting the ball. So that's the part that we need to understand. This is a player who lost his confidence, not his ability. He has limitations. He's not trash. And I think that we've gotten too far. I just think that we've gone too far as far as rating him and putting him in a position to be seen as somebody who's worse than he is. Now, Philly, if you're going to trade Ben Simmons away, which I ultimately support, despite all of that, you got to bring back size. You must bring back his size. You cannot let him go out the door and then bring back a 6'1" guy. I respect Dame. I love Dame. If you can get Dame, of course you bring Dame in, but you better make sure you supplement that with that size. You bring Covington back. You make sure you get some size, man. Because if you do not bring size instead of him, you're going to put way too much pressure on Joel Embiid. Did you see what just happened to Phoenix? Phoenix was not able to get it out of this series, and one of the reasons why is because they didn't have size. It wasn't because they were lacking talent. They had plenty of talent. They had plenty of scoring ability. Stuff that Dame does, Booker can do. Him and CP3 together, they can definitely bring you what Dame does. But they didn't have anyone to supplement when Ayton needed to sit at all. They just didn't have anybody to put down there. They were lacking in size, and as a result, they went up against the Milwaukee Bucks, now the NBA champions, and they got their boots smoked in 6 games. Philly, you're going to be facing those same Bucks. And one of the reasons why a lot of people favor you to have a good chance of beating that Buck team when you're fully healthy and when Ben Simmons is right is because you have the size to match up with him, unlike Phoenix. If you trade Ben Simmons away, if you trade Matisse Thybulle, if you start trading away like Tobias Harris, if you start pulling away at your size and you don't supplement it with size, you're going to be another small team that's relying too much upon Joel Embiid, just like the Phoenix Suns are relying too much on DeAndre Ayton. That's what's going to happen to you. And unlike the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton doesn't have any injury history. DeAndre Ayton is a very good, durable, and in-shape basketball player. Joel Embiid? No, he's not. He's a fantastic Hall of Fame caliber talent, but he ain't in that kind of shape. He's not that type of specimen of person in terms of athleticism and mobility. He's not that. He don't have an Ayton body. He's bigger than Ayton, but he ain't in that kind of shape, and he's not going to be getting in that kind of shape. and he ain't gonna be that kind of healthy. So you can't rely upon him like Phoenix. You can't rely upon Embiid like Phoenix relies upon him. That's not smart. Not only that, but he's way more important to your team than Ayton is to Phoenix. Way more important. So don't do that to him. Keep your Dwight Howards, keep your big size players around that dude. Keep a real adequate, competent backup behind him so that when he goes down, you can continue to let him sit for as long as it takes to heal. No rushing him back, none of that bull crap. Because Joel Embiid, as we know, is one of the most fragile bodies in basketball. Even though he's one of the most talented, you can't do it. He's not, I was talking about AD and how I think that we overrate his injury-prone nature. We put too much on that. Joel Embiid is one of those guys that I was referring to who doesn't get the kind of, well, that's not necessarily true. Let me preface by saying he's more injury-prone than AD. And he's understood to be more injury-prone than AD. But the point is, he is. And you need to understand that. Just like the Lakers try to protect AD by not making it so that he don't play center and do all these different things that make it so that he's too, exposed to too much contact, you need to do the same thing with Joel Embiid in different ways. Different ways, but needs to be done. So that's what I'm saying. Don't get rid of your size, Philly. I sat here for 11 minutes, and that's what I'm talking about. Don't lose sight of your size, because when you went into that Bucks team, if you just got Dame and Joel, that's going to be real nice, but you're probably going to find yourself in trouble with your size situation. And I'm assuming they're able to swing Dame because I think it's actually possible at this point. Listen to what I've been hearing. They have a pretty good package to offer. And they can be in the conversation for other players too, but most of those players are smaller, Bradley Beal, stuff like that, non-defensive players. Listen, Philly, you do not want to remove the defense and the size from your team. If you're going to give away Ben Simmons, do not add Matisse Thybulle. That's a mistake. That's a huge mistake. You're giving away two of the best defenders in all of basketball. So, yeah, neither one of them are offensive players. Neither one of them are overly gifted scoring the ball, I should say. But, that type of defense, that's the difference between winning and losing. Like, those two players can definitely be the difference between winning and losing. And if they go to the right spot, can you imagine if they get a defensive coach that uses them properly? Jeez, I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah, Philly, don't do that. Target size. That's what I'm here to say. Target size. Keep that edge. The Lakers do it. We always make sure we have size. Every championship team the Lakers have ever had, every team that's ever been worth a damn with the Lakers has always been taller than the average basketball team. I love size. It's why Milwaukee is the NBA champions. It's why Philadelphia should not be so quick to let go of Ben Simmons and Thybulle and Tobias and everybody. Nah, chill out. If you got to get rid of one of them, let it be Ben Simmons, but keep the rest of your size. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching.